Hey Jacob, you might remember me from a short-lived project called Debate Vlog that we were both a part of. I've looked at some of your videos and I find them very interesting, especially this one that I'm responding to. And I decided to respond to this video under this sort of fake name. I didn't want to use my other name because I've already built sort of a small brand around the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I'm going to read off these notes, even though it's bad form, I know, but it's late and I have to go to sleep soon, so I don't have time to put together a proper presentation. Anyway, for a long time, I was a libertarian, and though I still consider myself some sort of libertarian, I've recently had some second thoughts after reading some more Marxist literature. I'm not about to say that I'm a Marxist in the sense that I'm advocating a proletariat revolution and a society in which everyone shares everything and works according to his ability while receiving according to his need. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm starting to see how Marx's critique of capitalism was better than I originally thought. I think it was Christopher Hitchens who said, "I'm still a Marxist, but I'm no longer a socialist," meaning one can accept Marxism as a valid criticism of the status quo while also recognizing that Marxism in turn, or the society that it envisions at least, has its problems. Anyway, with respect to this video that I'm responding to, you bring up the example of an individual who really deserves to enjoy all his wealth because he took a huge risk to start a business. And if I just put myself in Marxism mode, I could criticize that notion alone, but I'm going to make it easier for both of us by just building on that scenario that you introduced. So let's say this wealthy individual who got wealthy because he took a risk has a son, a kid who's born into wealth and is groomed and equipped to perpetuate that wealth, greasing the skids. This is one of the facets of the Marxist critique of the formation of these arbitrary and ultimately oppressive hierarchies. Once you have class stratification, that stratification grows, and the upper class establishes obstacles for the lower class to ascend, even if we don't think about it, even if we're unconscious of it. For example, I didn't have to pay to go to college because I come from a relatively wealthy family, and I worked 3 unpaid internships in order to lay the foundation for a future career. Now, of course, the idea behind an unpaid internship is that the corporation saves money while I get paid with experience. That's sort of a quaint idea for someone like me who can afford it, but what about someone who's too poor to really afford college? So he has to take out a bunch of loans only to discover that now, in order to be competitive for a job, he needs to work for free. Well, there's no way he can afford that, so he works in the dining hall instead, which puts him at a disadvantage because he just can't afford it. So he's at a disadvantage compared to me, but I didn't take any risk. I'm not reaping the rewards of my hard work. For all we know, this poorer guy worked harder than I did in his failing school in order to even make it to college. And now, because corporate executives want to maximize profit, he has to work even harder just to have a shot. So again, I'm not saying that what we need to do now is just redistribute the wealth and lay the groundwork for a communist utopia. I recognize that the moral pinnacle for human society will be one in which we are also we are also selfless, and technology has graced us with such a superabundance of resources as envisioned by Marx that we can work according to our ability and receive according to our need as equals, and individual greed is replaced by a concern for collective well-being. That'll be the day. In the meantime, I recognize that we need to accommodate individual ambition in order to facilitate human progress, but given this example that I've given you of class stratification and how it's understandable that the gap between rich and poor will grow as it is, if unregulated, do you see how pure libertarianism is perhaps unsustainable if we consider collective well-being a priority? Maybe there's a place for some redistribution and regulation and ensuring that people have as great a chance as possible to succeed regardless of arbitrary starting points in life.